What is going on YouTube? Hidden back making another brand new crypto TV episode. In today's video, we are going to be looking at XRP, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. Now, last we left off yesterday, we were basically confirming that the break to the downside was in fact true, as we did start to close and correct below our bottom support levels on pretty much all the major cryptocurrencies. It pretty much drew out our bearish target levels, which we are now currently starting to retest and actually hit currently. You can see on XRP specifically, after breaking through its bottom support of this uptrend that we have drawn, we basically had a target set at about 88 cents all the way down to 83 cents. And you can see as of today, we actually started to retest that earlier this morning. And I do believe that we are pretty much drawn out for another few days left of correction to the downside here. And then I do strongly believe that a reversal back to the upside will take place very soon. I'm going to map this out, the percentage of a drop left, the percentage of the rise to the upside here, as well as how much longer this correction is that's going to take place. More so, Ethereum and Bitcoin also have been forming what appears to be multiple falling wedge patterns here. You can see it tends to be three right now, 1, 2, and 3 that we've drawn on in blue. Bitcoin as well has 1, 2, and 3 confirmations to the downside in some sort of falling wedge pattern, but it is being withheld by a moving average to the upside as well as an uptrend that are all very key and vital to Bitcoin and Ethereum's movement back to a full swing reversal that would pretty much move us back up to all-time highs, which could very easily take us to 100K in Bitcoin that I tried to cover yesterday or in yesterday's video. So very excited to go in depth about that. So if you guys are wondering what exactly is going on with these markets, how much longer is the correction going to be? Is it going to be another break to the downside, reversal? How high is it going to be moving to? That's what I will be answering in today's video. I'm also going to be looking at an article Yes, I do read the comments. Someone actually was asking about whether or not Ripple settled the court case as of a couple of days ago, which I don't believe happened. And you can see there is an article here that is pretty much confirming this, that came out pretty much a month ago. I understand they were talking about it being like last week or 2 weeks ago, but there's no articles really out there that I've found, unless you can prove me otherwise down in the comments, that would explain XRP lawsuit being settled already. So I am going to go off and reference this article that came out a month ago, as I feel like it is fairly relevant to what exactly we're talking about right now. Otherwise, guys, today's video is brought to us by Polars, which is the new DeFi concept of the prediction market. So for those that are interested in learning more about Polars, we will be going in depth about them at the end of today's video, so definitely stay tuned for that. Otherwise, I have linked them down in the description below. And with that being said, definitely make sure to smash the like button, turn on post notifications, and let's jump into today's episode. So guys, huge shout out to everybody subscribing to the channel. We're about to hit 58,000 subscribers. We need less than 100 subs right now before we hit 58K, on our way to 60K and eventually 100,000 subscribers, which we will be doing pretty crazy stuff, a giveaway, hopefully before then a whole revamp of the channel, some very cool stuff to come. So definitely stay tuned for that. But before we dive into the technical analysis, I just wanted to cover a few key statements made in this article here that should answer whether or not, Ripple has already settled and what exactly to expect moving forward. But this is pretty much the major discussion here. The major statement was that absent a settlement, this case will not be decided until March of 2022 at the earliest, and possibly not even until late spring in the court, if the court decides not to rule on some of the pending motions until the discovery deadline, which looks really possible. Now, by now, I believe if XRP specifically was to already settle, we would clearly see that defined by price movement in some sort of direction. And as we know right now, we only saw a correction to the downside, which follows all the other cryptocurrencies. The entire market is swinging to the downside here. If we found out that Ripple pretty much won by the SEC settling outside of court, there would be plenty of news articles covering all over the interwebs, and we would probably see prices start to rise drastically or even correct to the downside drastically, but we're not seeing that right now, which holds me to believe that we're not going to see that. So absent a settlement, we're not going to see any sort of potential decision until March of 2022. And what's interesting is it says here it's a circumstantial case, but the SEC didn't want to come out and say that. So Judge Netburn is forcing the SEC's hand. And with that being said, the SEC is being forced to address all XRP sales contracts, and the SEC is now in a tough position. It either has to admit there is nothing in writing that forms an investment contract and therefore admit that the case is circumstantial, or it can go through each and every contract and try to find something in the contract that somehow ties Ripple to people who bought XRP on Coinbase last year. And the legal experts' instincts is that the plaintiff is that the SEC won't go down that road and will concede it is bringing a marketing case. But much like a murder case with no hard evidence such as fingerprints or eyewitnesses, you can win that case, but obviously it isn't the easiest way to win, so it's pretty much going to draw this out much longer than we had anticipated. And you can see we're not even going to potentially see until at least March of 2022. Now, what I probably expect to see happen, because this seems to be a fairly often tactic used in courts, is to just drag cases on as long as you possibly can. And this makes sense to me because, as you guys know, with the SEC suing Ripple specifically, or bringing this up, the reason they did that is obviously to influence other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which we've covered here on the channel. So by them doing that, they're actually getting their outcome, so delaying them even longer would eventually suppress XRP much longer and allow other cryptocurrencies to rise in response. So that's pretty much what I'm talking about. You can see here the bad news for XRP investors is that absent a settlement, the case won't be decided until March of 2022, and the earliest, and possibly not even until late spring if the court decides not to roll on some of the pending motions until after the discovery deadline, which looks really possible. So honestly, that's my thoughts and opinions on the case right now. I don't believe they're settled. If it was, we would all very much know that it has already been settled by some sort of market movements within XRP. But with that being said, I do want to just dive right into the crypto technical analysis here. XRP specifically, as you guys can see, for the most part, we are still in our continued correction to the downside here. Jumping to the weekly, just so it looks a little less congested, you can kind of see for the most part right now, and I'm just going to delete these top resistance bands, which was our, ascending fractal here and now serve no purpose. But you can see kind of the drawing that we're starting to develop here. And I do believe target is set for the most part closer to point C here. Granted, the other cryptocurrencies are still in a correction to the downside standpoint. I do believe we are going to see XRP correct a little bit lower too. Now you can see that there is an Elliott wave forming here. You can also see that most breakouts tend to happen with 3 confirmations of bottom support and 3 confirmations of top resistance. Currently, there's 3 at the top for XRP, and there's only 2 for the bottom support right now. So we do need a little bit longer of the markets to play out right now. We're looking for that 3rd confirmation at point C here. And by zooming in, you could pretty much understand that there's maybe a little more time left before we retest our last, mainly official bottom support. I strongly believe prices are not going to be breaking through 82 cents, 83 cents on XRP. And the reason being is because not only are we oversold, it aligns very much with these other cryptocurrencies, which have rock bottom supports right here, as well as moving averages, all, trying to increase the prices here, acting as its rock bottom support levels that prices really probably aren't going to be breaking through. Now for XRP specifically, you can see the lowest I believe we're going to be heading to is back to here, back to point C, this area right here. And I believe the longest it's going to take is if we just take like Ethereum or Bitcoin and track how long we pretty much have of consolidation. It's about maybe 9 days left. We discussed yesterday 10, so about 9 days at most to complete filling in these falling wedge patterns here, which is about the same amount of time XRP would have to correct lower. And understand that Ethereum and both Bitcoin do see a correction to the downside. These falling wedge patterns are angled lower, so the lowest we could see a potential correction on here is about a 4 to maybe 5% at most correction. And you can see the same thing pretty much applies with XRP right now. Maybe the lowest we go is 9% from where we currently are, maybe as low as 5%, which would be retesting its bottom support again, or actually closing at about 88 cents on XRP's bottom, support level. You can see why this acts as a support too, based off previous reversals that we saw here, the double bottom that reversed us back to the upside here. But I do believe, as we've seen in the past correction below it, that this is going to be pretty much the farthest we go for XRP in this zone right here, and then we should expect to see a reversal back up to point D. How high exactly? Well, from point C to point D, it's about a 41% jump, and from the current price right now to the upside, it's about a 33% jump, and that's what I'm expecting to see happen after retesting this bottom support. So yes, even if you bought in right here, even though we might see more of a dip in the long run for the next couple of weeks, probably into the end of December, into the start of 2022, we should be a little bit higher, probably closer to about $1.20, and then maybe we can break through that. That might complete the top, the Elliott wave that's forming here, or we'll see a point E and then the break to the upside here. But I do believe it's fairly bullish moving forward with these cryptos, and that applies to the other cryptocurrencies as well. As you guys can see for Ethereum as well as Bitcoin, there are falling wedge patterns that are developing on this cryptocurrency. You can see for the most part that these lower high formations tend to break bullish once retesting the bottom support here. So you can see after correction as well, retesting bottom support, a break to the upside is expected to happen within Bitcoin as well as these other cryptos, and that will surely influence XRP to see the swing as well. So even with Bitcoin right here, you can see after these lower high formations, we tend to fill in the gap and then see the break to the upside here. You can see the first falling wedge took about 63 days to play out. The second one took about 40 days, and now the third one is most likely going to take about another 50 days. So they're all within the same average for the most part, 40, 50, 60 days to complete. And then we should get that confirmation run to the upside here. And by basing it off the percentage run here, you can see for the most part, the first jump we had was about a 79% rally to the upside here. The second one we saw was about a 65%. So we're looking for about a 65 to 75% run for the next break to the upside here, and you can see how much higher that would pretty much swing the prices up to. It easily gets very close to 100K, but more so it gets us to about, I'd say $90,000 being a new all-time high, obviously for Bitcoin. But if this pattern continues, we're looking really good. So I believe short term, I literally am saying this right now, short term, within the next maybe week, we have to fill in this gap here as confirmed by numerous occasions on Bitcoin. 1, 2, 3 confirmations. Not only are we intertwined with our moving average, we have our bottom uptrend here, and there are a lot of supports. Considering also that most of these cryptos are going to be oversold, you can see here as we get much closer, we will be oversold on the relative strength indicators, but basically allowing for a little bit more of a correction to happen, which we only have a little bit more to fill in this apex right here to fill and close the gap. And then I do believe it's going to be a straight upside shot. So I'm very excited to see that. That same thing also applies to Ethereum right here. You can see mapping this out, let me just pull this up here, that after the correction to the downside for the first falling wedge, we retest, or we started an uptrend here that I've drawn in red. Breakout to the upside happens. We have more consolidation back down to the moving average as well as the bottom support, this uptrend here. We break bullish for a second time, and here we are again, not only intertwined with the moving average, but we also have this uptrend here. Prices will correct lower. You can see we still have a little bit more time to go, but that should bring us back down to support, and then we should see another break to the upside here, influencing Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XRP to break back to the upside here. So expect to see a pretty substantial size run to the upside after this consolidation. This is very healthy when you look at a chart like this. After seeing these big swings, we can pretty much expect to see, after retesting top resistances on numerous occasions, that it's usually followed by a reversal back to the downside and almost immediately a break back to the upside here. Otherwise, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video. I do want to talk more about polars with you, though. All right, guys, I want to give a huge shout out to Polars for sponsoring today's episode. As for the crypto projects, please do your own research and never invest anything you can't afford to lose. So, guys, Polars is a new DeFi platform for creating secure Polar tokens and is a prediction market based on the Polar token protocol. Now, within the Polars platform, users can buy, sell, and exchange Polars tokens, as well as participate in the distribution of the platform's commission income. Now, the first Polar tokens pair is available for trading on the Polars platform, and they are the black and white Polar tokens. Now, guys, they are developed to create an efficient and transparent predictions market free from liquidity and trading volume problems. Also, to make participation more interactive, they are creating the white and black teams, and both will be actively competing against each other, with the winner depending on results of external events like the Euro World Cup, or results of an exchange rate, or even events that users can punt on. However, as they compete, the collateral of both Polar tokens will remain the same. Whenever the white team wins, the value of the white token rises, and at the same time, the black falls in the same margin so as to maintain the aggregate collateral. Now, in the DeFi area, there are several players in this market, but they all have a problem, and that's low liquidity. Users are not interested in participating in unpopular and illiquid events, and liquidity providers are reluctant to add liquidity to unpopular low-volume events, and this vicious cycle really doesn't break. Now, guys, Polars found a solution to this major problem and came up with a way to break this vicious circle. Back in May of this year, Polars conducted beta testing of their application, which was attended by over 30,000 users, and the developers took into account all the wishes, and now Polars is launching the mainnet with a number of improvements, audits, as well as new designs. And in conjunction with the official launch, Polars is actually launching the big testnet trading competition on the Huobi Echo Chain testnet, and with a prize pool of $300,000 plus a rare historical NFTs from sponsors and partners. So guys, more than 20,000 users have already registered in the competition, and about 30% of the total prize pool will be distributed as airdrops, and the remaining 70% will go to the top 100 users based on their P&L. Now guys, in the last trading competition, which was attended by 10,000 users, about $800 million of trading volume was generated, and this time they're planning on seeing a much bigger amount of trading volume in their competition. Now guys, the main thing to note is that the competition will take place on the testnet, and that is, you will not have to spend your own funds to get acquainted with the platform, and the prizes are real and they will be credited in the main network. And additionally, there's also profitable bounty programs based on marketing activities for their users. And now guys, the icing on the cake is Polars is launching a one-tier referral program that is based on the trading volume of invited referrals, and it will be active on the testnet throughout the competition and will continue to operate on the mainnet. And you can make thousands of dollars by inviting active users. And to receive referrals, your wallet will need to have at least 500 POL tokens, which is really cool. Now guys, I have already registered and I will fight for the top 100, and you can also register for the referral bot using my link in the description down below. Otherwise guys, huge shout out to Polars for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.